It's almost impossible not to take for granted, but it's insane that Magic has basically exhausted all of its design space. I mean, mechanically, in terms of the rule set of things that you can do with Magic cards outside of repeating weird things with flavor justifications, Magic exhausted the concept of planeswalkers to the point where they've been retired from the game outside of very, very few each new set. And if you don't understand what I'm talking about, what I mean is like the Final Fantasy card game can just print resource, draw 2 cards. But Magic's had that since Alpha, and that was 30 years ago. So the fact that visiting outside IPs is opening Magic up to new mechanical possibilities when they could just be giving Wizards carte blanche to reprint Divination however many times they want with a new skin is incredible. It's exciting and necessary, like for the survival of Magic as a game. If we as consumers want to continue to see new Magic cards, we're going to have to accept more and more weird out there concepts, assuming that we don't want just straight up power creep. And let me be clear, we do not want straight up power creep. Nobody wants to live in the world where the reserved list is a non-issue because we have printed strictly more powerful cards. But Final Fantasy has a fantastic mix of cards that we absolutely could do within Magic. You know, a Dark Paladin that flips into a Light Paladin when you're below half your life total. That's incredibly simple to understand. But Saga creatures is such a strange thing to try and justify without some sort of external process of keeping them alive, like the new Titus, side note, that I cannot help but be amazed at the beauty and the elegance of making them into Final Fantasy summon spells. Now, on the off chance that you've never played a Final Fantasy game, which I say on the off chance, but I suppose it's actually relatively common. Like, Final Fantasy is huge and not just genre defining, but medium defining in terms of video games. But, I mean, there are people who play Magic who don't play video games because Magic is a card game. It's the card game. Okay, it's kind of wild that it's only just occurred to me that this is the card game doing the video game. I'm even more in love with the Final Fantasy set now. Summons exist to fill a design space in the turn-based tactical RPG. Essentially, it's a breakup to the pacing of an ordinary battle. Ordinarily in these games, you have a process of just attack, 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 big attack. And as a designer, you want to put all of the fancy animation and sort of the power budget into those finishing animations. You know, so you have a good cycle of build up and then tension release, and then build up and then tension release. Straightforward stuff. Summons exist to be a sort of midpoint in there, in that you have your basic attacking, but then sometimes you'll break it up by going, I'm going to replace a bunch of my party members with one single, very large party member. And they're going to have large, usually pretty fancy single attacks that are going chonk, 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 chonk. And then usually right as they die or when they've charged up, they'll have a finishing attack of their own. So you have another little tension release moment, but also it necessarily stops the summon from just sticking around and becoming the new normal for your gameplay. And again, Universes Beyond could have very easily just been a way for Magic to repackage functionally identical cards in a new skin forever and ever and ever. And you know what? That's fine. In terms of Magic's longevity, that is a thing that was eventually going to have to happen in some way. But the idea of capturing a game mechanic from an entirely separate genre is a rare and exciting opportunity. The kind of thing that no amount of flavor from the Magic art department can justify, because how do you say we're trying to capture a game mechanic without shattering the illusion and causing everybody to suddenly see the code behind all of the Magic cards that they formerly loved? So yeah, I know we only have one summon, but I'm excited as I think I've ever been for a new card design. And I don't know how long it's going to be until I feel this kind of joy again. Because it's not going to be Spider-Man unless we get a card depicting puberty.